Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Sorry, we took a brief hiatus. I had to work last weekend, but we are absolutely back just in time for conference tournament week, NFL free agency coming up, NBA's cooking, all that, and so much more starts right now. Plus, a special guest, Davis Roller. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Davis, we had to take a brief hiatus. It was my fault. Hand up accountability. That one's on me.
But making that bread last weekend.
100%, get my ass kicked. But hey, we are back. We're absolutely back. Like I said, conference tournament week next week, Davis. We are in the absolute thick of March. And I mean, there's so much to discuss. But is there a run-in happening right now? Yeah. Is this a classic WWF 1990s run-in in the main event?
We have true ball knower, college basketball analyst, Jacob Casadas joining us today. Welcome, Jacob, to the Bocce Boys. We have a lot of college basketball to run down today, and we need your help because true ball knowers like Jacob know that conference basketball tournament, weekend or week actually starts right now. I may have watched like 4 or 5 different college basketball games already today, and it's only 6:45. Tell you right now, that Bellarmine game earlier this morning was Jacob, let's start us off with some conference tournaments. Me and you have been going back and forth here last week. Some of your favorite tournament winners, some of your favorite plays, like how dialed are you getting this week for some of these mid-majors?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah. This is best time of the year. One of my favorite, probably my favorite sporting event is March Madness. But really, the 2 weeks leading into March Madness are just as much fun, in my 100%. Opinion. I'll tell you, my favorite, maybe call it off the radar conference tournament has always been the Missouri Valley. I love the Missouri Valley tournament. The Arch Madness tournament is so great. I mean, how you can't make it any better. They put a gateway arch in the middle of the floor. That's incredible. And
awesome.
And those teams historically do pretty well in the NCAA tournament. That's never been a slouch conference. I mean, this year Belmont is not a substantially heavy favorite to come out of that tournament, but the closest built team I would say to being in the range of a power conference team. If they hadn't lost their game last week, they would be a strongly considered at-large team if they were to go to the final and lose. Now, I don't think they can do that at this point, but still a good showing from them this year. But there's a couple sleepers in that conference as well, like Murray State. So got to see. Another conference tournament that I'm really excited to see kind of off the radar is the American, because I think that South Florida could be a real player if they get to the tournament. No one's really going to talk about them a lot because I believe they have 8 losses or so, or maybe even 9. I think they have 8 losses this year.
Okay.
So, not like your stereotypical, kind of good team, real good to really good team like a Memphis that we've seen in the past come out of the American. But I think that people are going to sleep on this team. They'll probably be a 12 seed. Again, the American is a little bit jumbled at the top. There's a couple teams that could compete with them, like Tulsa. I would really watch out for them in the tournament too. But I'm not going to say I'm rooting for South Florida, but I would be very intrigued to see what South Florida does.
Kind of sounds like you're rooting for South Florida.
I want to see them in there. They're a veteran-laden team. Okay. They have a lot of guys that came from Power 5 programs. And we've seen in the past that these lower major teams, these mid-major to lower major teams, they tend to do better and have more success in March when they build their rosters with transfer portal guys. And, it's the push-pull of the portal, because we've seen a lot of teams get their rosters, taken away and brought up.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Yaxel Landeborg is the best example, a superstar at UAB last year. Obviously, he wasn't going to stay at UAB. It was either NBA or Michigan, right?
And then guys like Drake and Ben McCollum going to Iowa and stuff like that. It is very interesting, Jacob, but I did want to give you 30 seconds to talk about your favorite team, Mississippi Valley.
Oh, yeah, Mississippi Valley.
Talk about your system.
Well, so my system for Mississippi Valley State this year was strictly bet against them and bet the spread of whoever is playing against them. Now, I will say that I have to publicly apologize to the Mississippi Valley State Red Devils because last night and the previous game, they played their hearts out. They actually won 2 of their last 4 games down the stretch. Incredible end to the year for the Mississippi Valley State Red Devils. I'll give them their flowers. Shout out the Red Devils. They finished the season 3-28.
Yeah.
It's better than most people thought.
100%. Nobody was talking about the Red Devils this year.
No. They played a 10-20 Jackson State team last night and almost beat them. And
it was you and the parents watching.
It was me and the parents watching. Yep. And I watched, and I'll tell you what, I don't think a lot of people notice, but they quietly have a 21 point per game scorer on their team.
Oh,
yeah, Michael James.
Feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, seriously.
He might not be there much longer.
So before we get to the power conference stuff, and we could talk about that all day, let's talk about the bubble, Jacob, and talk about the true tiers of the teams going to this tournament. Because everybody wants to talk about the tip of the spear, the top of the nation, very good, very elite. I would say the top 5 seeds in this tournament will be pretty strong. But after that, we can talk about Villanova, we can talk about Wisconsin, we can talk about a lot of teams that are just above that bubble bracket that aren't quite as good. But also the bubble is really weak this year. So are we leading towards maybe another Cinderella year, or are we going to skip that again? Because last year was pretty favorites heavy and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good way to phrase it. I mean, you kind of have your top 5-ish or so teams, right? With those big 3 who have been at the top all year, and then Florida has gotten extremely hot of late, and UConn. I know that they've had some games where they make you scratch your head a little bit, but
and then they beat St. John's by 30.
And then they beat St. John's by 30, right? Yep. And you look back at what they did in December and November, and they beat Florida, they beat Kansas on the road. That they have no shortage of great wins for UConn. But it's interesting because I feel like after those teams, you could take teams 6 or 7 maybe down to team 35 or 40, and the margin is not huge. Yeah, it's really not huge. But on any given day, if you told me that St. Louis was going to hit 15 threes and beat St. John's by 15, I couldn't put it past you because I don't really think that the margin between any of those teams is that strong on the best day, especially on the best day for any of those teams. We've seen. So does that open the door for some Cinderella teams, maybe a 12 seed, or maybe a team like Miami, Ohio, for instance? I would say yes, because
talk about Miami, Ohio, because you had a big passionate take this week about the Auburn stuff and all of this.
I did.
Bruce just ruined Jacob's week with that quote, by the way, which is up in the top right. Basically saying that he believes that Auburn should easily get in over Miami of Ohio since they're playing arguably the hardest schedule in the league, and Miami of Ohio.
I appreciate his honesty though, being like, "Did I help my son get the job? Of course."
Nepotism is one of our favorite things to do too. Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, Auburn's chances to make the tournament are not 0, and they should be 0.
That's ridiculous.
But I know. I mean, I with them, to me, it's almost like, what do you want to see from these teams? Do you want to see them win big games, or do you want to see them play high-level opponents? Because the way that I think about it is, what difference does it make if you play 10 teams in the quad 1? But if you don't beat any of them, what does it matter?
Yeah.
You know, and then and they haven't beaten 0. They've beaten, you know, a couple, 4, I think. Strangely, sorry, go ahead.
Ohio, in terms of, you know, facing off against these Auburn teams, like I'm hearing people say if they even like lose a conference tournament game, they should be out. But they went undefeated in the conference. That is a accomplishment within itself. But like, where do they stack up against these teams? Because they're not really winning handedly.
No, they're not. They're not winning handedly, and I think that that's probably going into, you know, fueling the fire for people who want to see them, you know, get if they were to lose, if they were to not win the MAC. I think that that's really the strongest talking point for a lot of people, you know, when it comes to them making it or not making it. But, you know, I mean, you could look at it that way, but you could also look at it in the way of they've had their back completely against the wall in so many games this year. And in the last 3 minutes of a game, they've found a way to win. So the pressure has been on, you know, they could, once they got to 14, 15, 16-0, there was no bigger target on anyone's back in the MAC than them. You know, you're getting everyone's best shot. Now, I know the MAC, the bottom of the MAC especially, is extremely weak, but the top of the MAC is not that bad.
Akron,
Kent State is pretty good. Akron's only loss was to Miami, Ohio.
Wow.
So, you know, and I like, you know, that Akron team is a good team. If you told me that Akron would steal a game in the NCAA tournament, it wouldn't shock me one bit. That team's a really talented team.
So is Akron to win the MAC a good bet, or do you like, you know, the Red Hawks? Is it Miami, Ohio?
Hawks? The Red Hawks. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Davis had mentioned to me earlier in the week that Akron would be a slight favorite over Miami, Ohio.
Really?
And I don't disagree. I bet that that's almost certainly the truth.
Interesting.
I just hope that those teams get to the MAC final. I don't really see Akron losing before then.
Yeah.
And I mean, who am I to say that Miami, Ohio is going to lose before then? Because they've just been finding a way to win every single game that they've played.
That matters the most.
Yeah, winning the game at the end of the day matters the most. So I'm not really too concerned about their, you know, what they've done and how they've won the games. I'm more just concerned that they've won the games at this point. And I think that most fan bases around the country who are fans of the bubble, or fans of bubble teams, like you look at, you know, Auburn fans or Indiana fans, or maybe not so much Ohio State fans anymore, but maybe Cincinnati, up and coming bubble team right now. I think that it would be in their best interest for sure for Miami, Ohio to just win, win the conference. I think that they should really be pulling hard for that, because, you know, Miami, Ohio, they have their last regular season game today, and it's you know, if they win that, they'll be 31-0.
If they lose that, that's massive. No,
on the road at Ohio today, 4.5 point favorites. But this is actually a spot where I'd consider looking at Ohio, because there's just been so much buzz about the perfect season, you know, and
it all comes down to this.
I could see happening. Storybook, they lose tonight, they end up winning the MAC as dogs against Akron, and they still make the tournament. Like that,
absolutely could see that,
in my opinion.
I absolutely could see that. Do you know that Miami, Ohio hasn't won a game at Ohio since 2011?
Oh, that is nothing to see those out there.
Yeah, it's 100%. Basically it's a cross state rivalry. They're not far away from each other.
So talk about the big game of football. This is the big game in basketball.
Absolutely.
Right tonight. No, but arguably Akron, I would say, probably the best team in this conference, even with a 29-0 or 30-0 Miami of Ohio team. The odds aren't out because the regular season isn't done, but honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if I saw Akron as like a -105 favorite to win the conference. They're probably more realistically going to be +140, and Miami of Ohio is going to be +160. But if you saw that minus number right in front of Akron, you know that's off Ethan's bet slip, because he only bets on plus numbers right in front.
Bingo.
Akron, I don't think if you got a plus number there in front, I wouldn't be shocked if that would be on my card.
100%. So, fellas, let's get to the top of the nation. Let's talk about the guys that can most likely win this. Jacob, you already talked about there are a couple teams at the top that are, you know, really good, that have been there all year. You know, Duke, Arizona, Michigan, UConn, Florida. We could throw Houston in there. You could throw Michigan State in there too. But a lot of these teams have been pretty all over the place. A lot of these teams have been number one for a second, like Houston, and now they're down to 7. So, like, who is the favorites going into this. Who do you really think can win the national championship, even if they are outside the top 10?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to look past those top 3 teams, because they've kind of, they've all seemed to face moments of strife a little bit this year, and they've never really had any repercussions from that, as in turning 1 loss into 2 or turning 2 losses into 3. Like, it's been a loss, let's get it right and let's bounce back. So, and that's why they all only have 2 losses. So, I all 3 of those teams, I think the margin between them is extremely small, small. If you told me I had to pick one, I would probably pick Arizona right now, because I think
Tommy Lloyd, though.
Yeah, I'm not
6-4 in the tournament, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. I do worry about that a little bit. I do think that this is by far the most, obviously it's the best team that he's had there, but it's probably the most well-rounded team in terms of production from his big men and his guards. I like Arizona's. What's that?
Is Koa Pete going to be healthy?
Koa Pete should be healthy. He's been playing the last few games, so I think that he'll be okay. I really like their guards a lot, and I think that that's going to be really important for them when, when they get themselves into a tight game, later in the tournament, assuming they get later in the tournament.
Yeah.
I think that could be really big for them to control a game. I could see Michigan having some problems in that regard, because they don't, Michigan's guards are great, but Michigan still has a little bit of that turnover problem that they had last year. It's not nearly as crazy as it was. They had a colossal number of turnovers in that first round game last year against UC San Diego, and they still found a way to win.
Yeah, that was crazy. Everybody had UC San Diego in that game.
Yeah, it was a very popular game, and it was a great game too. San Diego almost beat them. So they don't have that problem nearly to the extent as they did last year, where they were top 10 in the nation in turnovers, but they do still have it a little bit, and they fall victim to the sloppy play a little bit. I don't see that as much from Arizona. Duke, I think, is excellent, and I think that Duke is, the only thing that I think about with Duke is maybe the lack of a tough conference schedule. Does that help them or does that hurt them?
Yeah, ACC's been tough this year. Virginia's been okay, and UNC's been okay. I mean, they were a lot better with Caleb Wilson, who's actually going to I saw he broke his hand today. He's out for the entire season, so that would probably hurt UNC, right? I would think so.
It takes UNC out of, in my opinion, even sniffing the second weekend.
Yeah, 100%. But they'll still have a good chance of getting in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be in. They'll be about a 6, I think.
Okay.
So if you take outside of those big 3, and we could talk. We kind of already touched on UConn a little bit, and we touched on Florida a little bit. Yeah. Outside of those big 3, or those big 5, I guess you could say, I'm looking for teams who I've seen. I know they may have had some bad losses, but I know that I've seen their ceiling and or close to their ceiling, and their ceiling is good enough to beat most teams in the country on their best day. I think of Wisconsin. I'm not saying these teams are going to win the title, but if you told me they could get to the Final Four and sneak their way into the Final Four, it wouldn't shock me.
Wisconsin has 2 of the best wins in the entire country this year at Michigan and at Illinois.
They did. Lose somebody though, Winters.
Wisconsin?
Yeah. One of the better players got hurt last night or something.
Really? Not sure off the top. A healthy Wisconsin. I agree with Jake.
Yeah. A healthy Wisconsin, I could see making some noise. Obviously, I could see that with Houston and Iowa State too. I mean, Houston and Iowa State are kind of the same type of team where they play ferocious defense.
Yeah.
And they just can't score. Iowa State can score. Milan Momcilovic, maybe one of the most important players in this whole tournament, shoots 51% from 3 on the season, which is unheard of. If he gets hot, that's, Iowa State probably only needs to score 68 points to win a lot of games in the tournament. Yeah. I think about Kansas with Darren Peterson.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, well, you guys know that I like Kansas, but it's just I've seen them be
controversial player. He's by far the most controversial player.
He's by far the most controversial. Yeah, he's by far the most controversial player, and he's also him and the team combined are like a sign graph. Like you never really know. It's the most confusing team.
Mm-hmm.
They look phenomenal without Darren Peterson and beat Arizona.
Number one Houston or Arizona, yeah.
Yeah. Turn around 2 weeks later and stomp Houston. Just stomp Houston. Yeah. And in the middle of all that, they beat Texas Tech on the road. So they have great wins. And they also, lose to Arizona State the other night in horrible fashion. Everybody was clamoring about the officiating, but I mean, last I checked, if you have 18 turnovers in a game and you shoot 29%, you probably aren't going to win that game. So, I think that, I could see them, finding their rhythm with Darren Peterson. Maybe the Big 12 tournament would help them a little bit to find a little bit more rhythm. I think it's a little lofty, but, and then like sneaky teams throughout the rest of the top 25 or 30 teams, I could see St. John's making a little bit of a run. I could also see Arkansas doing it.
BYU?
Like these teams.
BYU?
Not as much as I did after Richie Saunders got hurt. I don't think I realized how big of an injury that was until it happened. Okay. He was really an important part of that team. And Dabansa is spectacular.
He's so good.
And like so unbelievably good. And I think that losing the wingman for him, I have a feeling that if they go down in the tournament in an early round, it's not going to be without him putting up a colossal number of points.
Yep. So what about like Louisville or in Arkansas with Mikael Brown on Louisville and Darius McCuff in Arkansas, two really good teams that kind of revolve around these draft prospects, though.
Yeah. I don't think, it's like we've seen in the past few years, like the teams with the high draft prospects, they've had either really bad tournaments or really good tournaments as teams. They've had really good tournaments 100%. Or really bad tournaments. Like
look at Duke last year, but that's kind of an anomaly though, right?
Well, yeah, sure. But like they also had a phenomenal team, so like we knew that they were going to go pretty far.
Flag and Knippel is a duo that you're like, how did you not win a national championship?
Don't forget about their center too. That was a top 15 draft pick.
Come on, Molowak. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, these teams that have a top draft pick on their team, like Acuff or Mikael Brown or, Kingston Flemings from Houston, like you never really know. Or Illinois too. They have a couple guys,
right?
Keaton Wagler
and Hummerkaus and the guy, the son of the
Stojakovic.
Stojakovic.
Right. Come on, all day.
Yeah, sorry, but like these teams, like you never know when they're just gonna give you 40.
Yeah,
and if they give you 40, you'll probably win. So kind of like I think about this a lot. Like when we saw Carson Edwards go crazy in the tournament in 2019, and it was just game after game after game after game, and they got beaten in heartbreaking fashion against Virginia. That team looked like they were about to go win the title because he was playing so well. So it's entirely possible that one of those teams outside of the top 2 seeds gets hot like that with a player like that can just carry a team. Like
100%. Davis, you got anything else before we got to let this man go?
No, I think we might need some Jacob picks next week for Selection Sunday. Once the brackets come out, we're gonna need some futures in there.
We're gonna need Jacob Rothstein.
Yes, Jacob Rothstein. Yes,
yes, sir. Agreed. Yes, sir. All right, Jacob. Well, we really appreciate you joining us tonight. I know you're a very busy man. You got to go rain terror over Phoenixville tonight. So we'll have to let you go, but thank you for your appearing, and we might be seeing you next week on our bracket palooza, whatever you want to call it.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I'm excited for it, guys. And I'll be watching the games this weekend and all through next week. So I'll be in touch. Appreciate you guys having me.
Jacob,
Absolutely.
we sleep in May. We sleep in May.
Thanks, Jacob.
All right, take care, guys.
See ya. That was electric, dude. I am so ready for March Madness now. Let's go.
There's just so much college basketball stuff happening at any given second. And honestly, we've seen crazy upsets today. Like I know like we've all been working obviously all day today. So Jacob probably didn't see that Belmont lost as a 1 seed. Like there's just games happening every single second of the day right now. And we're seeing crazy upsets. And it's not even the second week of March yet. Like it's so electric to watch this stuff. And we get good regular season games tonight, like Miami of Ohio.
I was going to say
St. John's go to Seton Hall tonight for a huge Big East game. I mean, it's an exciting time.
100%, dude. I can't wait for that Miami of Ohio versus Ohio matchup tonight. That's going to be electric. All right, Davis, we unfortunately have to move on. I could talk about this all day. Let's get to the next thing, which I think is the World Baseball Classic.
Yes, it is.
Dude.
So we've got an American onslaught coming out tonight. USA plays at 8:00, right when this podcast is going to be dropped, pretty much. And,
against Brazil?
Against Brazil, 9.5 run favorites. You don't see that very often in baseball. The craziest I've ever seen in baseball, I think, is a 3.5 run favorite, and that's when the Dodgers play the dreaded Rockies.
Jeez, man, 9.5 is a lot of runs. A lot of runs. I mean, if you're feeling frisky, bet Brazil plus 9.5, just for shits and giggles. That should be really fun.
You could look at some live things because I saw Japan won today. I think it was 12-0. Or 13-0 against Taipei, but they ended the game. There was a mercy rule. There's actually a mercy rule.
What is it?
For some reason,
12?
I don't know. They won 13-0 in 7 innings, so they must have just stopped the game. So hey, if Brazil goes down like 15-0 in the first 3 innings, take plus 21.5 just to see if it ends. Like,
I love it. I love it. But Davis, let's get to the more general aspect of the World Baseball Classic. The other day, I took a little bit of time during my lunch break to just go through some of these rosters because, like, you know, I kind of know who's on Japan. I kind of know who's on the America team and the other teams. But, like, looking at the rosters, you're like, oh, okay, there's a lot of teams that can win this. Obviously, Japan and the United States are probably the favorites. But you look at teams like Cuba, really good. A team that's, like, kind of stacked is the Netherlands. They have a couple of players that you're like, oh, okay, all right. Netherlands could be very interesting. But then Mexico is going to be really tough out. Puerto Rico is going to be a tough out. Dominican Republic is going to be a tough out. Venezuela is always pretty sneaky. But what are your thoughts going into the World Baseball Classic? Like, can we see a team that's not America or Japan win this?
So I'm going to phrase it like this. Yes, I think we can see another team other than America. And I'm not even going to put Japan in there. I'm going to put just America other than America win this thing. If it does happen, this is one of the biggest disappointments in American sports, I think, in the last few years. Absolutely. If you look at this American lineup here, it is top to bottom. I mean, this is the type of team that you make on MLB The Show when the trade sliders are down. Like you've got Aaron Judge. I mean, you have guys like Roman Anthony who bat second or third for the Red Sox. He's batting 9th today, I'm pretty sure. Like we're seeing it's absurd. And then we've got Paul Skeens. We've got Tarek Skubal, who's going to be starting in game 2. And then we already know just one game, but we already know who our championship starter is going to be if and when we make the championship. And that's going to be Mets rookie Nolan McLean, who is an absolute stud, by the way. But this is going to be a massive disappointment if America loses. I think they are going to win. And other than Japan, I kind of agree with you that I think it could be Venezuela, that they're the weird, like underdog team that I could see making it. And they would be the dark horse, in my opinion. They've got Ronald Acuna Jr. on that team. I think they had Ranger Suarez pitch for them today. Salvador Perez, Wilmer Abreu, who's on the Red Sox. Like that, they have a pretty solid team too, and they have a lot of guys playing. But yes, agreed. There are a lot of good teams in this field here, but nobody matches up like the USA does on paper.
What about the Mexico and the Dominican Republic? Like the Dominican Republic hitters are pretty freaking good. I mean, just off the top of my head, Machado, Tatis. Who else?
Soto, Ketel Marte. Agreed. I don't know if they're going to have the pitching depth that a lot of these other teams are going to have, but yes, top to bottom order wise,
is Sanchez on the
don't
Dominican?
Look too bad. He's actually their starter today. Which is pretty sweet as a Phillies fan. You know, after you listen to this podcast, or even when we're done this podcast, turn the game on because we're in the first inning right now. But that's pretty awesome to watch. I know the Puerto Rican team would probably be right there with America and Japan, but they had a lot of people opt out because certain insurance policies weren't met or given to certain players.
Yeah,
so they
like
opted
Alvarado,
out
right?
Yes. There were a few in there, and Bad Bunny actually tried to tell the players like, "Hey, I'll cover the insurance policy."
That's
but
awesome.
legally, I don't think it actually was able to happen.
Like the players have to pay it themselves.
Since it's not covered, like, yes,
Gotcha.
yep, exactly.
That's so stupid. Bad Bunny should be able to come in here and be like, "I want every single good Puerto Rican player, and I'm paying." Like,
but you would have to think, like, even just like let's bring up Taras Kubel. Why he only pitching 2 games in this World Baseball Classic? It's because he's poised to make $400 million next year.
Oh my God,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It makes sense why that, financially. Obviously, we want to see the best players on the field for each of their countries, but even some weird ones like Nolan Arenado's on Team Puerto Rico right now, even though he's had
watching
USA
on the YouTube
experience.
He's literally in the picture right there. There's Nolan Arenado, the American jersey. Yeah,
he has heritage on his mom's side, but that's Puerto Rican. So he went to Puerto Rico. I mean, this is where it comes down to, I'm glad people can play, I think, wherever they want to.
I mean, Jazz Chisholm's playing for Great Britain, so yeah.
But NIL has a play. Like, NIL talks, like, honestly. So
100%.
Somewhere down the line, I'll have to figure out my heritage, see if I can jump into one of these lower teams one of these years.
That'll be pretty sweet if you're just like, I have a little Italian in there. Yeah. I could probably go play for Italy. Come on.
Exactly.
That would be wild. But so you think at the end of the day, it probably will be the USA versus Japan?
It's a good question. Yes, I think that is obviously and statistically the most likely option. If America if it's Japan versus someone else, that is even a more disappointing run that USA makes. But I do think, again, Venezuela and the Dominican Republic are 2 teams that can make a charge at it too.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this World Baseball Classic. I didn't watch as much in the group stage the last time, so I want to make sure that we're locked in tonight. Hopefully USA just creams the Brazilians. We'll see. We'll see. So Davis, let's keep it moving. I don't even know what's next. Is it golf or basketball? It's basketball.
Basketball.
I love it. So the NBA is cooking. It is getting there tonight. If you're watching this too, Jayson Tatum is making his long-awaited return from Achilles injury, surgery, whatever you want to call it. Davis, it's only been 10 months since he's come back. I mean, this is wild. An Achilles injury 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even shorter maybe, was at least a year injury for every sport. Jayson Tatum has made it back in 10 months. He's been doing a weird NBC documentary where he's like, I didn't come back to be a role player, doc. And you're like, okay, dude, you're like, a top 10 player in the NBA. No crap. It's going to take him some time, though. It's probably going to take him at least an entire year, entire season to get back. But I mean, even if Jayson Tatum's at 50% power, 30% power, that's a big boost to a Boston Celtics team that's already a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, a team that has looked a lot better than people thought. People were like, Boston and Indiana are going to be, just giving up on the season. They're going to go for a draft pick. No. Jaylen Brown is playing out of his dang mind this year. I heard people talking about him, like Zach Lowe and these other ringer guys being like, is he an MVP candidate? Like, wow. He's had a fantastic year.
He's definitely just outside of that. Like, if we're putting NBA guys in the college basketball tiers, like, yes, there's Wemby, there's SGA and Jokic, but Jaylen Brown's right behind there. Like, he's in that B tier.
And Cade Cunningham. Do not forget about Cade Cunningham.
I would put Cade's. I would put.
He's at the top tier.
Cade at the top tier.
He is
below all those guys, but he's in the top tier.
I disagree. Cade Cunningham has Detroit Pistons. Obviously, if you're looking up the YouTube, we have the odds for the finals up right now, and they're below 2 Eastern Conference teams. 3 teams: the Cavs, Knicks, and Celtics. But like, they are the number 1 seed in the East, and like, the Pistons are playing great. Jalen Duren's a great player, but like, Cade Cunningham is fully carrying this team. And I get into this every time where I go, like, the award is called the most valuable player. Who's the most valuable player? And like, if you're going to go off of that, in my opinion, it is Cade Cunningham, because if you take Cade Cunningham out of that team, they're not a top 5 seed in the East, top 6 in the East.
For sure. I don't think I need to see it on a game-to-game basis, though.
Fair.
Like, we've seen the games where he puts up 40 and 15, and it's like, oh my God, like he is maybe the best point guard,
best American, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever. But then you see games like the other night, he put up like 14 and 8. And it's like, they won. Cool, but the stats don't show, and it's more than just stats. I feel like me and you both realize that it's more than just stats. On the floor, he is an impact on the offensive and defensive side. But I think that when you look at guys like SGA, when you look at guys like Jokic is a walking triple-double. Like, what you're going to get from him. I just think Cade needs to put it out there more on a game-to-game basis. But
especially as we get closer to the playoffs.
For sure. This Pistons team, I think I told you this last week, they are just fully running off the power of friendship right now. And they are so good. They really would actually probably be my pick in the Eastern Conference right now, just looking at the odds board value-wise. But I think that there's going to be a lot of trouble with a healthy Harden, healthy Mitchell, and Cleveland.
Cavs are good, yeah.
Obviously, the Celtics, like we just said. But Ethan, we talked about this last week too. Does Jayson Tatum, is it really that helpful that he's coming back, or does it maybe limit Jaylen Brown? Like, how do you think the mesh is going to happen now? He's coming in with, a month left in the regular season.
He'll have a little time to ramp up for sure, get his legs under him, whatever that means, having burst your Achilles 10 months ago. But I really think this is going to be a plus. People forget when the Celtics won the championship over the Mavs, Tatum was not playing out of his mind. He was being a very all-around player. I think he averaged 8 or 9 assists in that series. He has the ability to change his game to not just be, Jayson Tatum, the scorer who's trying to be like Kobe Bryant. He has the ability to be a very all-around player. Obviously, we have to see what his burst is like, what his basketball IQ is like. He's not going to be able to pick up steals and coverages right away. Missoula is going to be on his ass for sure. But I do think Jayson Tatum, in whatever volume that he comes back, is going to be a positive. Unfortunately, I am not a fan of the Celtics, but I am a fan of basketball. And I think it is more fun when the Celtics are good and when Jayson Tatum's good, because everyone's been talking about the East isn't good, blah, blah, blah. This makes the Eastern Conference playoffs so much more interesting. Speaking of the Eastern Conference playoffs, there's a team that we have not talked about that if you were just looking at the YouTubes and you saw the odds, they were not on that. The Charlotte Hornets, Davis, are a top 5 team in the East right now. They are playing out of their damn minds. So they've won 6 straight games by 15 points, the longest streak by any team since the 2017-2018 Golden State Warriors, tied for the second longest streak in NBA history. And then they're 21-9 in the year 2026. First in offensive rating, 5th in defensive rating, 1st in net rating, 1st in three-pointers made, 1st in three-point percentage, 1st in free throw percentage, 1st in rebound percentage, 1st in second chance point percentage. This team is very, very good. People are going to sleep on them because if you go to ESPN right now and you're like, Charlotte Hornets, what are they talking about? I haven't really heard about them. They're the 9 seed right now. I understand that. They have been on an absolute roll. I think they've won 20 of the last 22. I really, really think that maybe outside of the Pistons, maybe the Celtics, depending on what they're like, I think the Hornets could beat the Knicks. I think they could beat the Raptors. I think they could beat the Cavs possibly. LaMelo Ball is maturing before our eyes. People, they watch LaMelo Ball and they're like, he's playing like an all-star game. He's shooting off 1 foot. He's not taking it seriously. He is getting to a point in his career where he is a very, very, very good player. He's a positive on the court. Obviously, we can talk about Con Knipple. Looks like the second coming of Klay Thompson. Just shoots the lights out at an efficient rate. And then also Brandon Miller is also turning a corner. He's looking like super Paul George. He's playing both ends of the floor. He's shooting the 3 ball really well. But a guy that nobody's talking about, Davis, is Moussa Diabate. Arguably one of the best big man centers or whatever you want to call it this season. He's probably not going to get all BA love. He's probably not going to get something special at the end of the year. But I believe I saw that in the last 4 months, he's a plus 20 net rating on the court. This guy is all over the place. He's not the tallest guy. He's not the biggest guy on the court, but he doesn't back down. If you saw the Pistons Hornets scrum, he went right after Jalen Duren, and he is a rebound machine. He plays both ends of the floor. They play a lot of good pick and roll stuff. I'm sorry. I could go on about the Hornets forever. And then Kobe White coming off the bench has been awesome. Like, this team could make some noise. If you want to talk about them winning the East, that's probably a step too far, especially because they are a 9 seed. Like, if they somehow get past the Sixers to the 6 seed, now we're talking. But right now, watch out for the Charlotte Hornets. If you want to, not something people love, bet the Hornets to win their division. I know nobody should hang banners for NBA divisions, but it's probably a juicy number, Davis.
It was a juicy number about a month ago. I don't know what it is right now. I can find
the books
for
are
you.
Caught up. I think you're right.
Yeah, but I will say, like, some of these people that I listen to, some of their early preseason favorite bets of the year were the Hornets to win. What do you think their win total was this year? Let's actually start with that.
I think it was like 32, 33.
Yeah, it was like 27.5. So this team's obviously playing much better than they've been expecting to. But I'm going to say that I think they're 1 year early. I think next
100%.
year is definitely their year. And I'm going to
be honest, of winning a championship, yeah.
To being even potential Eastern Conference, like the team that comes out of the Eastern Conference. Because like I just said, the Eastern Conference is very tough this year. But I completely agree with everything you're saying. Diabate is an absolute menace down low. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think this team's Brandon Miller's at this point. He is so good, and he's been very good with the rock, obviously, shooting it really well. But like, I feel like they are trusting him more with the ball more and more. And I come this time next year, again, we're going to be seeing LaMelo Ball. A lot of all these guys are putting up like 15, 18, 20 points per game too. Like, if they just make one more ad in the offseason, if they actually go out and spend the money like no small market team does, they can definitely rival some of these top teams in the East.
100%. They're a really fun team to watch. I would agree. Brandon Miller's been played out of his mind, but just something to look at. Yep. I could talk about the Hornets all day, but let's keep it moving, Davis.
NFL.
Yeah.
We can keep it brief, but
I don't even know where to start.
I'll lead us off. So we had franchise and transitional tags happen last week. So like guys like Breece Hall get the franchise tag. Daniel Jones got the transitional tag from the Colts. But main thing, especially on the Eagles side, we're hearing that some of these guys that are hitting free agency, this is a huge free agency for us and offseason because we're seeing guys in free agency like Reed Blankenship and Nakobe Dean, both being rumored to go to Dallas. That's a scary thought. But the biggest thing I want to bring up to you is AJ Brown and Maxx Crosby, because obviously AJ Brown is a guy who's been in the media for what feels like 12 months that he wants out of Philly, or maybe he doesn't want out of Philly, but he wants out. And then Maxx Crosby, who's been on the Eagles short list ever since the trade deadline this past year. Ethan, can I bring you up? Can I give you an idea of mine? Because AJ Brown, I thought about this yesterday. AJ Brown, Howie Roseman's asking for a first and a second for him. There's rumored, nothing's confirmed.
We're talking about
rumors out there that the Patriots offered a first and a third,
and a player.
And a player, and Howie declined. But can I throw out an idea to you? Why would the Raiders not trade Maxx Crosby to the Philadelphia Eagles for AJ Brown and a future first round pick?
I don't hate that, actually.
I thought about that yesterday. I'm like, could you imagine a Fernando Mendoza, AJ Brown combo in his first year? We're seeing all these rookie quarterbacks over the past few years, like Cam Ward. Cam Ward is a great quarterback. He is probably a top 20 quarterback, like hands down, but he has no weapons. He had nothing over this season. Like, we've seen
these division a little.
These rookie quarterbacks have nothing. Look at the guy like Sam Darnold. He came into a New York Jets team and had nothing for years, and now he's a Super Bowl MVP. I don't know, Ethan. I think I don't want to see AJ leave, but for the people that want to see AJ leave, I think that is a win-win idea.
I don't know. It's such a tough spot because honestly, AJ Brown and Maxx Crosby are in the literally exact same position. Obviously, Maxx Crosby has a little bit more of like leeway to be like, I've been here through 3 or 4 different regimes. We aren't winning, and now you want to rebuild again. I'm kind of the opinion too that maybe he should stay, because I don't think it's going to take as long as he thinks to rebuild. And if you're going to win somewhere, the Raiders is a pretty sweet place to win. But he is such an all-time great player that like you have to go chase that legacy.
Yep.
AJ, AJ is so annoying because I want him to stay. He's such an awesome player. Like, how you keep saying you don't trade players of that value ever. You just don't. And, whether AJ thinks it or not, he is a top 5, top 10 receiver in this league that, maybe if he was on a team like the Patriots with Drake May and it's just those two, he can get the targets that he wants and the stats and all that crap that he wants. But I just think that both of these guys are in a position where they want out, but they're not saying they want out. And until they literally come out and say on their social media or whatever that they want out, these teams do not have to move them. The Eagles can be in a position where teams are, even if the Patriots offer this morning was legit, they could be like, no, we can make this work. We won a Super Bowl with him. Why would we, settle for whatever your second best offer is? We want that top tier. We want a first round pick and a second or a player, whatever they're going to talk about. I think it's very, very interesting maybe for like a Crosby AJ swap. I just don't think that could happen logistically. I don't know if the Raiders would want to take such a big swing depending on, whatever Alex Guerrero thinks of that trade. But I would love to see the Eagles take, whatever risk it is on Maxx Crosby, whether AJ Brown's on the team or not. I think you go get a guy like that. But Davis, there's some silly little Instagram, Twitter rumors going around today saying that Jalen Carter's on the table to the Raiders, and the stupid little Ricky Scoops YouTube channel that I'm going to tweet this out. So like, if you see this, Ricky, I'm talking to you, buddy. I am so done with these little stupid Twitter burners who think they know something because they're probably a real insider that doesn't have the balls to tweet it. I'm just so sick of this AJ Brown stuff. Either say you want out or don't, because I'm seeing these trade offers every day, and it's like I'm scrolling Twitter, and I just feel like I'm reading the same thing a million times over. It seems like it's us or the Patriots. If he really wants to go to the Patriots, I wouldn't even be upset. I think him and Vrabel together is a cool combo. I get him wanting to go with Drake May. And I also like the appeal of maybe Devontae Smith being on his own too and being the number one target and like reaching another level and reaching a level above AJ Brown, hopefully, would be really awesome. And then I saw the Eagles would maybe go after Mike Evans in that instance, which could be fun. But at the end of the day, this team is better with AJ Brown on it. Straight up, he is. And I want him on the team. If we could get a first and a second for him, that would be pretty sweet. But I don't know, man. It's just such a weird time because the Crosby thing is happening at the same time. And like, I think teams don't know what to do. They want to go after Maxx Crosby, who is probably worth a first and a second, versus AJ Brown, who's a great player, but he's a receiver. And like, that's not a premier valuable position that you give up premium draft capital for when like he's a great player, but he's not a quarterback and he's not an edge rusher. Like those are the two things that you spend on. So it's just very annoying to go on.
And
Twitter
look, these receivers are all divas. Like it's not in it.
I don't know. Justin Jefferson isn't this big of a diva.
No, correct. But we see a lot of these big time receivers be divas.
Even Mike Evans.
Chad Ochocinco. Like I'm not putting AJ Brown in their Hall of Fame type level like Randy Moss, but they're all diva. Like a lot of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you know why? Because they get paid to catch the ball, and they can't catch the ball if the ball's not thrown to them. So I'm hoping. I'm thinking that this is a Kevin Patullo problem, and now that he's out of the building, I think that Saquon's already came out and say that the new offensive like scheming looks great. Like, he said it might be the most fun he's seen in his entire career.
And then let me ask you one more thing. Are you believing these reports that like the AJ Jalen relationship is beyond repair and that like they can't mesh? I think that's BS.
That came out also 2 years ago. Same type of thing happened. No, it's totally fine. Like yes, maybe they're a little frustrated with each other, but like I get frustrated with people I play basketball with, like at Lifetime. You know, it happens, but it doesn't.
And by the way,
it doesn't.
Hurts was not happy about Patullo either. There's multiple clips of him with Patullo, him reading up a play. Hurts walks away. By the way, the most well put together man ever, making faces. Jalen Hurts does not make faces for no reason.
Yep.
So
agreed.
My God, it's frustrating. I want this to end. I want this to end. Whether it's AJ getting traded or not.
Get the Eagles Hardo fans, like just close Twitter for a few months.
Yeah,
please.
me too.
Like seriously, like it's gonna be all right, and we're gonna have a championship contending team next year with Jalen Hurts at the helm, Jalen Carter at defensive tackle, and a top tier offensive line again.
I will say if the AJ Brown trade's going to happen, it's going to be this weekend. And it does feel like there's smoke happening on Twitter. If you read from people who know what they're talking about and not fan accounts, there is smoke, but I hope he stays.
And if I agree, I want him to stay too. But if it happens, like, I don't want to see the world explode.
First and second's pretty good for a receiver who's not, the top 3.
Devontae Adams just went for a first and a second a few years ago.
And he was 30.
That's the trade package that Howie wants. So
he's 30.
If he gets it, I mean, I trust Howie. Like, everyone's
too.
Forgetting that we have Howie Roseman at GM. Like, general managers around the league don't even want to talk to him because they know how good he is. Like, he knows what he's doing, and I have my full faith in him.
I agree, Davis. Man, that's so frustrating. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We'll be fine. Let me wrap it up with some golf, okay?
Please, go ahead.
Last week, PGA National, Shane Lowry goes into the 15th hole with a 4-stroke lead. Completely blows it. Goes in the water twice on the last 3 holes, and he loses it to Nico Echevarria. And honestly, what a shame, because Shane Lowry flew his whole family out on Sunday. He he was breaking down, almost tearing up, talking about he wanted to win this for his daughter, who's 4 years old. I think her birthday, it was the next week. So this week, shame, but he'll be back. Cause I think one of my favorite quotes I heard all week in any sport was Rory McIlroy told Shane Lowry that the year that he went in the water on PGA National and blew his lead, he won 2 majors that year. Ooh. So it's okay. It's all going to be all right. And Shane Lowry's going to be fine.
I feel bad for him.
This week, Arnold Palmer Invitational elevated event. We're getting a lot of people in there. Ethan, I put up the Masters in here because we've had Scotty Scheffler on this slide for the past 2 weeks or past 3 weeks, because we always do our podcast on Fridays, and Scotty Scheffler hasn't gotten off to a great start in the past 3 weeks. No. Yet again, Scotty Scheffler is not off to a great start. Yeah, I want to poise this question out to you real quick.
Please.
Scotty Scheffler is. This is a fact. Scotty Scheffler is still the best golfer in the world.
Does
it concern you at all that how poorly he's played on Thursdays and Fridays for some of these majors, including the Masters, which is really only less than a month and a half away? Does it concern you at all, or do you think he's still just top of the top? Like, he really it's through him or bust, pretty much.
I think both. Yes, I think it's concerning, and I think that he's such a good player, it's not going to bother him. On the concern meter 1 to 10, it's probably about a 2. If having a tough Thursday and Friday is definitely something to pay attention to, especially in that next tier of top signature events. Like, I'm sure he's thinking about it. I'm sure he's like, damn, I can't let this keep continuing. I got to break the mold on Thursday and Friday. But at the same time, this guy's won 2 green jackets at Augusta. He knows that course extremely well. And like you said, best player in the world, all that stuff. But he's a gamer. This dude he just shows up for the biggest moments. He knows how to play the best golf. So, will he win the Masters this year? I don't know. It probably leans towards no if he is having trouble on Thursday and Friday, because Augusta will be not forgiving whatsoever. They won't allow him for any leeway at all. But like I said, the man knows the course, and he will lock in when it's time to win. I really think that he will be in contention. I think if you want to bet, top 5, top 10 for Scheffler, go ahead. I think that's probably a lock. I think he's such a good player. He will be in the mix. Even 2 weeks ago, when he had that terrible Thursday or Friday, I forget what tournament it was. He was 3rd. He finished 3rd or 4th.
Yep.
I think it's the Waste Management. I don't really remember which one it was.
Well, he did it for the Waste Management and the week after at Pebble.
Okay. Yes, exactly. Pebble, I think, is what I was thinking of. But he's such a good player. I really think he will be in the mix no matter what. I don't know about you. What do you think?
No, I agree. That's actually I would actually go a little bit more on the same side, that I think it still absolutely runs through him, and I'm not worried whatsoever. I think some of the media could be bringing it up. I don't know, a little bit of clickbait, rage bait, whatever. 100%. Scotty Scheffler's best golfer in the world. He will turn on his A game for 4 days at these big events. And honestly, Ethan, next week, 5th major players. I wouldn't be shocked to see it next week and see him take another title. Rory won it last year, but I think that it is Scotty's time.
What about
put it all together?
What about for the Masters coming up? What about some of these guys that have been pretty hot in the PGA season opening up, like Colin Morikawa? I would even throw Batia, who's been pretty good. Shoffley, definitely. If you want to do that. Goddard. Is there a guy that can come out of nowhere and win this? That's, maybe not one of these live guys like DeChambeau and Rahm and all these guys.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you with after looking at my model.
Okay. Okay, Josh Pate.
I agree. I think that a guy like Chris Goddard is intriguing to me. I don't know if he's gonna win the whole thing, but I think a pretty juicy top 10 could be interesting. But yes, a guy like Akshay Bhatia, you know how much I love lefties at this course and how lefties have played at this course. I feel like almost every year of the past 5 years, I've looked at Brian Harman since he hasn't done very well, but he's been
even Phil Mickelson, because he's always in there.
Yeah, I guess you can't stand Phil Mickelson. So
I know.
But yes, I think Akshay Bhatia is a guy, and Colin Morikawa. I just need to see it a little bit more. Obviously he
so talented,
has the win this year, but I want to see him put together 4 straight days where he can putt, because the approach game is there. I want to see him hit fairways and be able to putt above average. I think the guy that I would be most intrigued in taking a look at right now would probably be Bryson DeChambeau.
Really?
Just because I think that, people forget some of these live guys, I think.
Yeah,
like
100%.
and he was right there last year. Like, you know what I mean? He was right behind Rory last year, and he's put up great major stats over the past few years, and you're still going to get him probably like 10, 11, 12 to 1. So he'd be the first guy that I would look at.
I don't follow Liv at all. Has he been good this year?
I think he's been all right. I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest.
All I know is that he got dropped by his club brand or his equipment brand, right?
I saw I think John Rahm has been really good on Liv. So if you wanted to go the Liv route, like off of performance, I think John Rahm is the answer.
Okay. I can't wait for this next stretch of golf. I mean, I'm not the biggest Arnold Palmer guy. We had a big back and forth about the other day. I'm not a big Arnold Palmer guy. Hand up. That's okay. But the players, the 5th major, 17 par 3, easy.
Yep.
Like my favorite time eating dinner at that point of time every year, we all drop everything and we're like, oh my God, it's 17. Lock in. Yep. It's electric. It's an electric factory.
Yes, it is.
And golf is only heating up more. I cannot wait. And then hopefully some guys join the PGA Tour more, because the PGA Tour has been awesome this year, I think. And
yes, it has.
Hopefully Mr. Koepka can get it pushing too, because I haven't heard his name much.
Yeah, and Justin Thomas, who's making his return after back surgery. He is currently in last place.
And don't forget another Justin Rose, who's been pretty good too, and has been awesome at majors. And he's got a major coming up in Pennsylvania that he seems to do pretty well in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm just saying.
Yes, he does. I'll give you on site. I'll give you on the ground reporting for that. I'll be there on Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. I was going to say, we have something on that weekend. I don't know if you remember or not.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, okay. All right, awesome. Yeah, we'll have boots on the ground for sure. But everybody, I think that's the end of the episode. We really appreciate you guys sticking around, watching all that stuff. I don't know if you guys see, we're cutting up the episodes a little bit more, so make sure that you're watching our abbreviated topics that, you don't have to watch a full hour-long podcast. For those who do, we appreciate you. Like, subscribe, share, go to YouTube Shorts, go to Instagram Reels, go to TikTok. We're pushing stuff more than ever. I know we took off last week. That was on me. That was kind of on design too.
It was a get right week.
We will not abandon you like that again. We do apologize.
We are back.
All right, Davis, roll that intro. See you guys next week. Dude.